Nissan's best-selling vehicle in America is getting completely redesigned, and this time there's more riding on it than usual. Nissan had a genuinely rough year, and the Rogue isn't just another crossover refresh, it's the single most important car the company sells here. This is the next-generation 2027 Nissan Rogue, and it's still very much under wraps. As of the most recent spy shots, Nissan has only put out a handful of teaser images, nothing close to a full, official reveal. What we do have is months of camouflaged prototypes caught testing, and enough consistent detail across those sightings to know roughly what's coming, even with the specifics still hidden under wrap and tape. Let's start with the styling, because that's the clearest signal so far. The new Rogue is borrowing heavily from the Murano, Nissan's other, more style-focused crossover. Up front, expect a bolder, more textured version of Nissan's V-Motion grille, sitting above a trapezoidal lower air intake, with the headlights mounted higher than before and featuring a distinctive hooked LED running light element curving down at the outer edge. Around back, the current Rogue's thick, hockey stick-shaped D-pillar is reportedly being replaced with a flowing, floating roof treatment, where the roofline visually separates from the body color, plus entirely new taillight graphics that stay horizontally oriented but pick up a sharper, more angular shape. Here's the part that actually matters beyond styling, though. Nissan's bringing its next-generation e-Power hybrid system to the Rogue for the first time in the US, and it works differently than the hybrid setup you're probably picturing. In a normal hybrid, the gas engine and electric motor can both physically drive the wheels, usually working together depending on conditions. In Nissan's e-Power system, the gas engine never touches the wheels at all. Its only job is spinning a generator to keep the battery topped up. The electric motor is the only thing that actually moves the car, all the time, in every situation. It's closer to how a diesel-electric train works than how a typical hybrid Camry or CR-V operates. Why does that distinction matter to you as a buyer? Because it changes how the car actually feels to drive. Since there's no transmission linking the engine to the wheels, there's no shifting, no hunting for gears, just a steady, direct application of power the way an EV delivers it. Except you're never plugging in and never worried about range. Whether that translates to better real-world fuel economy than a conventional hybrid Rogue would be, that's genuinely an open question we don't have numbers for yet. Why lean on the Murano for styling cues specifically? Because it's arguably the best-looking, best-reviewed interior Nissan currently builds, with a distinctive threaded-look dashboard and instrument cluster that stood out in a segment full of near-identical screens. Pulling that design language down into the Rogue is a low-risk way to make Nissan's actual volume seller feel more premium without inventing a whole new design language from scratch. It's a similar playbook to what other brands do when a Halo model's styling gets pushed down into the mainstream lineup a generation or two later. It's also worth putting this redesign in context against what it's actually competing with. The Rogue's two biggest rivals, the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V, have both stuck close to conservative, evolutionary redesigns generation after generation, leaning on reputation rather than dramatic styling swings. If Nissan's new Rogue really does land with a noticeably bolder look and a genuinely different hybrid experience, that's Nissan trying to differentiate on substance rather than just matching the competition feature for feature. That's a real gamble in a segment where buyers have historically rewarded the safe, familiar choice over the bold one. One more piece of context worth knowing. e-Power isn't a brand new, unproven idea for Nissan globally. The system has been on sale in Japan and other markets for several years already, across models like the Note and the current generation Rogue's overseas equivalent, and it's generally been well regarded there for smooth, quiet delivery in city driving. What's actually new here is bringing a more advanced version of it to a US Nissan model at this kind of volume for the first time. So this isn't Nissan experimenting blind. It's Nissan betting that a proven overseas approach translates to American buyers who've spent 2 decades associating hybrids with a very different kind of driving feel. Now here's why I said this one carries unusual stakes. The Rogue sold around 245,000 units last year, and that number alone tells you it's not just Nissan's bestseller. It's one of the best-selling vehicles in America, period. Gas or electric, any brand. But that figure was actually down about 11% from the year before, continuing a slide from a high of over 270,000 units just 2 years earlier. Nissan as a company has been dealing with real financial pressure lately, the kind that makes headlines for the wrong reasons. When your single biggest seller is sliding and your balance sheet is already stressed, the redesign of that exact vehicle stops being a routine product cycle and starts being a genuine make-or-break moment. So what don't we know yet? Quite a lot, honestly, and I'd rather say that directly than dress up guesses as facts. Official horsepower and torque figures for the new e-Power system haven't been released. Pricing hasn't been announced. We don't have a confirmed reveal date, only that Nissan intends to have this on sale before the end of the year, with initial production coming from Japan and US-based manufacturing at the Smyrna, Tennessee plant following in 2028. Anyone giving you exact numbers on range, efficiency, or price right now is guessing, same as we are. Timing risk deserves its own mention here too. Automakers slip launch dates fairly often, and usually it's a minor story, a few months of extra anticipation, nothing more. For most companies, a redesign moving from late this year into early next year barely registers. Nissan doesn't have that same cushion right now. Every additional month, the outgoing Rogue keeps selling against fresher, more recently redesigned rivals, is a month where the sales gap to the RAV4 and CR-V likely keeps widening. And for a company already managing tight cash flow, a delayed Halo redesign isn't a footnote. It's a real business problem playing out in real time. What we can say with real confidence is what the redesign needs to accomplish. It needs to look different enough to justify calling it all new, without straying so far from what buyers already trust that it scares off the exact people keeping Nissan's lights on. It needs the e-Power system to deliver real efficiency gains, not just a novel explanation for a dealer to give at the test drive. And it needs to hit dealer lots on schedule, because a company in Nissan's position doesn't have a lot of room for a delayed launch on its most important nameplate. I'll be honest, redesigns of best sellers are usually the safest, most boring videos to make on this channel, because manufacturers rarely take big risks with their cash cow. This one's different specifically because Nissan doesn't have the luxury of playing it safe right now. Whether that pressure produces something genuinely better or just something rushed is exactly what we'll find out once this actually breaks cover. Let me know in the comments if you're currently cross-shopping a Rogue, and if the e-Power explanation actually changes how you think about hybrids, or if you'd still rather have a normal one. I'll be back the moment Nissan makes this official. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.